One thought can change everything. Ian Tyro Deuce. TON, the invisible power that shapes your life. Most people believe that big changes require big actions. They think transformation comes from money, opportunity, luck, or other people. But the truth is far simpler and far more powerful. Everything you see in your life today once began as a single thought. Your success, your failures, your confidence, your fears, your habits, your relationships, your financial condition, none of them appeared suddenly. They were all born quietly, in the mind, as thoughts that repeated themselves until they became beliefs, actions, and finally realities. A thought is invisible, yet it builds empires. A thought is silent, yet it destroys dreams. A thought weighs nothing, yet it can crush or lift a human soul. History has been shaped by thoughts. Lives have been ruined by thoughts. Lives have been rebuilt by thoughts. This book is not about motivation that excites you for 5 minutes. It is about mental transformation, the kind that changes how you see yourself and the world forever. If you change one thought, you change one decision, one habit, one direction, one destiny. This book will teach you how one thought can change everything and how to choose the right ones. Chapter 1. Every life begins with a thought. Before a child takes their first step, before a business opens its doors, before a champion lifts a trophy, thought appears. I can do this. I will try. What if I fail? What if I succeed? Your entire life is the physical expression of your dominant thoughts. Thoughts create identity. Do not become who you want. You become who you think you are. If you repeatedly think, I am weak, gives you live cautiously, I am unlucky, gives you stop trying, I am capable, gives you take risks, I can learn, gives you grow. Your thoughts quietly shape your identity long before you notice the results. Thoughts become beliefs. Say single thought repeated over time becomes a belief. One negative comment gives a thought repeated memories of it, gives a belief acting from that belief, gives a lifestyle. Most people are not trapped by reality. They are trapped by old thoughts they never questioned. The tragedy of unconscious thinking. The greatest danger is not negative thinking. It is unconscious thinking. When you don't choose your thoughts, society chooses them. Past trauma chooses them. Fear chooses them. Other people choose them, and then you wonder why your life feels out of control. Your life will not change until your thinking becomes intentional. Chapter 2. The moment one thought changed a life, there is always a moment quiet, unnoticed, where everything shifts. It is not dramatic. There is no music playing, no applause. Just a thought. I've had enough. I deserve better. This is not my final chapter. That single thought has rebuilt broken lives. The prison of old thoughts. Many people stay stuck, not because they can't escape, but because they never think they can. They accept pain as normal. They accept struggle as permanent. They accept suffering as destiny. One new thought challenges the prison walls. The courageous thought change does not start with confidence. It starts with courageous thinking. Courage to question old beliefs, courage to imagine a different future, courage to act differently. Even doubt can coexist with change as long as the new thought is stronger. One thought versus a lifetime of habit. Habit may be 20 years old. A thought can be 2 seconds old, and yet the thought can win. Few feed it. Every transformation story begins with a mental decision before a physical one. Chapter 3. Your mind is a battlefield. Your mind is not peaceful by default. It is a battlefield. On one side, fear, doubt, past failures, negative self-talk. The other, hope, vision, discipline, self-belief. Every day, one thought wins. Thoughts compete for control. You don't lack motivation. You lack mental leadership. The strongest thought controls your emotions, actions, energy, focus. That is why protecting your mind is a daily responsibility. The cost of one negative thought. One unchecked negative thought can ruin a day, break confidence, destroy momentum. Trigger self-sabotageable thoughts create big consequences. Winning the inner war. You don't win by eliminating negative thoughts. You win by choosing stronger ones. A stronger thought is clear, repeated, emotionally charged, aligned with growth. Your future belongs to the thoughts you practice, not the ones you wish away. For Chapter 4, the thought that breaks fear. Fear is not born from reality. Fear is born from thought. Before fear tightens your chest, before it stops your action, before it convinces you to stay small, there is always a single thought, whispering danger, failure, or rejection. What if I fail? What if they laugh? What if I'm not enough? Fear does not arrive screaming. It arrives thinking. Fear is a mental construction. Fear feels real, but it is rarely factual. You fear failure before failing. You fear rejection before being rejected. You fear loss before losing. This means fear lives in the future your mind imagines, not in the present moment you are standing in. One thought creates that future. Something bad will happen. Change that thought, and fear begins to lose its power. The root thought behind all fear, every fear, no matter how complex, comes from one of these core thoughts: I will not survive this. I will not recover. I will not be accepted. I will lose control. Fear is not about pain. Fear is about meaning. It is not the fall that scares people, it's the thought this fall will define me. The thought that destroys fear. Fear weakens instantly when you introduce this thought. No matter what happens, I will handle it. This thought does not promise success. It promises resilience. Fear survives on the belief that you are fragile. This thought reminds you that you are not. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is not feeling fearless. Courage is thinking differently while fear exists. The courageous thought says, I am afraid, but I will move. This is uncomfortable, not dangerous. Growth requires risk. Fear leaves when it is ignored long enough. Fear shrinks when action begins. Fear thrives on stillness. The moment you act, fear loses oxygen. One thought leads to one step. One step leads to momentum. Momentum destroys fear. Do not wait to feel ready. Readiness is a thought, not a condition. Reprogramming fearful thinking, ask yourself daily, is this thought protecting me or limiting me? What evidence supports this fear? What would I do if fear had no vote? Fear dissolves under questioning. Fear versus regret. Most people fear failure more than regret, till it's too late. Regret is born from this thought: I should have tried. The thought that saves you from regret is simple: trying is better than wondering. That thought alone has saved more lives than comfort ever could. The final truth about fear: fear is not a sign to stop. 'Tis a sign that your old thoughts are being challenged. If you feel fear, it means you are growing, you are changing, you are stepping into unfamiliar territory. Fear appears right before transformation. Chapter 4. Reflection. You are not fearless. You are capable. You are not weak. You are learning. You are not stuck. You are thinking differently now. One new thought weakens fear. Repeated daily, it destroys it. Chapter 5. The thought that builds discipline. Discipline is often misunderstood. People think discipline is punishment. They think it is force, pain, restriction, or suffering. They imagine strict routines, endless sacrifice, and a joyless life. But discipline does not begin with action. Discipline begins with one thought. Why most people struggle with discipline? People don't fail because they are lazy. They fail because their thinking about discipline is broken. The most common destructive thoughts are, I'll do it when I feel motivated. I'm just not disciplined. I always quit. This is too hard. These thoughts quietly destroy consistency before action ever begins. You don't lack discipline. You lack the right relationship with effort. The hidden enemy of discipline, emotion-based. Thinking when your actions depend on emotion, you work. When you feel good, you stop. When it feels hard, you quit when motivation fades. Emotion-based thinking creates inconsistency. The disciplined mind thinks differently. I act based on commitment, not mood. That single thought changes everything. The thought that creates discipline, the most powerful disciplined thought, is I do what needs to be done, regardless of how I feel. This thought is not harsh, it is liberating. It removes the daily debate in your mind. No arguments, no excuses, no delays. Action becomes automatic. Discipline is identity, not willpower. Willpower fades. Identity remains. When you think I'm trying to be disciplined, give struggle, I am a disciplined person. Gives consistency, discipline strengthens when it becomes who you are, not something you force. Ask yourself, what would a disciplined person do right now? Then do that. Small thoughts create big habits. Discipline grows from small decisions, not dramatic ones. Showing up for 5 minutes, choosing progress over perfection. Finishing even when it's boring, the disciplined thought says small actions done daily beat big actions done rarely. Consistency beats intensity every time. The pain versus purpose thought. Most people avoid discipline because they focus on pain. Discipline fails when you think this is uncomfortable. Discipline succeeds when you think this discomfort is building my future. Pain with purpose feels lighter. Pain without purpose feels unbearable. Discipline thrives on structure. A disciplined mind removes unnecessary choices. Fixed routines, clear priorities, simple rules. Structure protects discipline from decision fatigue. The disciplined thought, I design my environment to support my success. Discipline and self-respect. Every disciplined action sends a message to your mind. I can trust myself. Self-trust builds confidence. Confidence fuels more discipline. This is the hidden cycle. Discipline gives self-respect, gives confidence, gives more discipline. The cost of undisciplined thinking. Undisciplined thoughts lead to regret, lost potential, self-disappointment, repeated starting over. The pain of discipline is temporary. The pain of regret is permanent. Discipline is freedom. Discipline does not trap you. It frees you. Financial discipline creates choices. Health discipline creates energy. Mental discipline creates peace. Disciplined life is not smaller. It is powerful. Chapter 5 Reflection. Discipline is not something you wait for. It is something you decide. One thought removes excuses. Repeated daily, it builds greatness. I do what needs to be done, regardless of how I feel. Live by that thought, and your life will change.